With the start of the 2004 season just around the corner, a pivotal moment in training camp epitomized the team's character.
And I came out one day and I ripped their tails about something, and I said, we're going to run 20-20s.
And I remember the day everybody's kind of dragging out there, and he says 20. And usually when he says 20, it's silent.
And they looked at me and said, why don't we run more than that? And they were clapping the whole time. And I'll never forget Morgan Scally and the captain was just like, is this all you got?
He says 20 and everybody goes crazy. And that's when I knew everybody was like, it doesn't matter what you guys throw at us, we'll be able to handle it. That's kind of the moment when I knew that we were going to be really good.
And they knew that, because they knew me pretty well then, that this was all a show to just try to stir it up a little bit. And that's as good a team as I've ever been around.
The first game of the 2004 season was against traditional power Texas A&M, one of the two teams that had defeated Utah in 2003. The Associated Press had given the Utes a preseason ranking of 20 and Sports Illustrated a notch higher at 19. In front of a national television audience, the team looked to make a statement.
That was a big-time team coming to our stadium, week one. Week one's always kind of an interesting game because you don't really know how good you are yet because you've just been practicing against yourself.
And I knew on national television on Thursday night, for recruiting and just to showcase Utah, because people didn't realize what a beautiful place and what, that stadium after the Olympics came in and redid it all, one of the most beautiful places in the country.
Once again, this was a BCS school, from a big conference. I don't think a lot of people expected much from us except ourselves. And I think the way we went out and played and handled that game, I think certainly set the tone for the rest of the season.
And I was able to get the start. And when I got the start and the impact that we had and how we came out on fire, I said, man, I made the right choice. I'm here and I'm in something special right now.
I was talking to Liz Abel, who's worked at the U for a long time, seen a lot of teams, and she's a fan, but she's pretty clear-headed, and plus it's her job, so there's a convergence of all those things. I said, I just remember looking at her and saying, Liz, you think the Utes are that good? I think A&M's that bad. And I remember I was slowly talking into myself like, they're really that good. They were good last year, and they are much better. But it was a little hard, it's what happened right in front of you. Sometimes you're just slow to recognize it. She goes, well, I think it's a little bit of both, but I think these guys are really good.
And after that game, I knew we had something special because every phase, that was complete domination of a big-time program.
After dominating Texas A&M, the Utes went on the road, soundly defeating in-state rival Utah State and Pac-10 opponent Arizona. Their first Mountain West Conference game was at home against the highly disciplined Air Force Academy. The Air Force offensive scheme posed problems for any opposing defense. What the Falcons lacked in athletic talent and size, Coach Fisher DeBerry countered with a triple option offense. A lack of defensive discipline usually resulted in large gains for the Air Force. In recent years, games against the Academy had been problematic for Utah. In 2003, the Utes had squeaked out a win in triple overtime at Colorado Springs. In 2004, the Cadets started the game firing on all cylinders, scoring the first two touchdowns. For the first time that season, Utah found itself in the unfamiliar situation of playing from behind.
I think we went down 14 early on in that game, and then but coming off to the sideline, we knew that if we took care of business, we were going to be all right. I don't think there was any sense of panic on the sideline.
Being on the sideline and the coaches being so calm and telling us just, hold on, these guys cannot stop us. They're running this type of defense and we got plays that they're not going to be able to stop.
And even in that Air Force game and talking to the guys, there was no panic.
There was panic on the sideline by one guy, and it was me. And Morgan Scally and Kyle Winningham, to this day, I remember I was jumping up pretty good.
That was always a tough game for us anyways, for the matchups and what Air Force ran.
Air Force, for whatever reason, that stretch of time gave us problems. They were a good team and for whatever reason matched up well for us.
That's just how that game goes. That game against Air Force is always a battle. The kids that play for Air Force are just tough kids, mentally tough, physically tough, effort.
They were starting to run the ball on us. The quarterback had a big run for a touchdown. And I remember I grabbed Morgan Scally and Kyle Winningham on the sideline. I was, doing the thing head coaches do, scream and yell a lot, and they looked at me and said, we're going to be all right. We're going to be fine. And sure enough, that's when Alex Smith got fired. Our defense stiffened up and played very well after that.
It was more of, okay, we're in for a fight. Air Force at that time was a pretty doggone good program.
Not every game, could go smoothly, and certainly that was one for us that, trailed for a little while, but found a way to come back and get a win.
That game was kind of the only game that felt close.
I don't think at one point during the season that we ever panicked. Again, with each game, we gained confidence.
Remaining undefeated, Meyer and the Utes began to garner the attention of the national media as they rose in the polls. Despite their impressive start, some national pundits questioned the team's ability to compete with ranked BCS programs. After defeating New Mexico, a BCS opponent from the ACC came to Salt Lake City.
That was right around the North Carolina week, and they came out, and it was Trev Alberts was the guy that, and he's a friend of mine now, but I remember one day I was watching TV, and he says, Utah doesn't belong with the big boys. They're not a BCS conference school. And I started thinking, wait a minute, I said, my quarterback's better than most BCS conference players. My safety, Morgan Scally, is. Matter of fact, a lot of our players could play at any BCS conference school they want to. So I got real defensive, and I also used it as an opportunity to stir it up.
We watch ESPN, we love to, and every time Utah came up, we would obviously want something good to be said about us, but that wasn't always the case.
It was all part of the same system. All these people that said we weren't good enough. I mean, like I said, that we were kind of the little brothers within college football.
Definitely those two, analysts and what they thought of our team, and that we ran the spread and we were soft, and we averaged 220 yards, rushing a game. That's not a soft team.
That's okay, because it doesn't matter what they believe, it's what we believe. We believe that we were the best team in America. We believe that we can play with anybody.
I think we had a bye week before we played North Carolina. We used that. I mean, any chance you can see a chance to get an angry team, we had a really angry team that day.
Took that anger, and we took that disrespect and transferred into our play on the field.
Every chance we had to play a BCS school, I think we took it out on them, and I think you can kind of see the results of that whole year.
And that might have been, if not the best game, one of the best games we played in our 2 years there.
To be that focused as a team and to fight through that and not really let that affect your play, it says a lot. It says a lot. That team was special.
After defeating North Carolina by 30, Utah easily got past conference opponents UNLV, San Diego State, Colorado State, and Wyoming, with an average margin of victory of over 26 points. UNLV Rebels coach John Robinson, who had coached USC to a national championship, stated that the Utes were a national championship caliber team. With a string of dominating performances, BCS Bowl officials began to take note.
It was one of those things, you got about 7, 8, 9 games into the season, and you started to think it was a reality, and a few of the bowl people came to our game to see how rabid our fans were and how excited it was.
It started to become a reality and a possibility right about midseason.
By midseason, kind of the way the Mountain West season stacked up and the way BYU was going, TCU wasn't in the league yet, it was clear they were going to run the table.
It happened so fast, it was hard to really sit there and think about all that was going on. Alex Smith was a junior, and I remember turning on sports radio and having someone talk about him winning the Heisman around week 4 or something, and we're like, come on, man, like this is crazy.
But during the season, after the North Carolina game, I thought this is real.
The quest to earn a BCS Bowl invitation would be exceptionally difficult, given the fact that Utah did not belong to a conference with an automatic bid.